Okay, question 3. Navigating the roadmap to innovation and team growth needs more than just strategy. It demands a culture that promotes creativity and loyalty. How has your focus on culture empowered your team to build great products and for you to create a company that people want to join and stay part of? Big question. I think we've talked a lot about this already, but
Yeah, I'll jump in with the first bit, but I think for me, this is core to what we do as a business is learning, but actually something that's been a key part of my journey has been that humility that your learning hasn't finished yet, and that actually one thing we really encourage the business is continuing to learn, both sort of more formally, and sort of we have a budget that we give staff to enable them to learn regardless of role. We really encourage that, but also have informal groups that start up book reading clubs that sort of people want to take a book and look at it together, or groups coming to learn stuff together, lunch and learns, and how you just foster that culture of learning as a key piece. And I think for me, that's sort of, if you think you've made it and you think you've learnt everything, then that's when you stop innovating, you stop developing, you stop driving change. And so that for me is core. But personally, to my journey, is that I think if I felt I don't think I've ever been at a point in my time at Glean where I'd be like, yep, I know, I feel so comfortable in my job that like I know exactly what I'm doing all the time. It's never been like that. And I think it's always that point of staying humble and being willing to continue to on that learning journey, always sort of looking both to learn from others, how they approach things, learn from reading and from other ways that is just so important. I think that piece of our culture is I think has been so key in driving innovation, and I think will continue to be as we go into the future.
I'm kind of laughing because I had this conversation this morning. So, openly, probably about 10 years ago, I wasn't in, let's say, the best place. And I thought, right, I need to sort this out. And I started to see a therapist. And I remember going in and sitting down and be like, so when will we fix then? When will this be done? And like now, looking back on that, I'm like,
You get your certificate.
You've graduated from your therapy.
You're all good now.
But the thing is, and this is like 10 years on, and I think the reason why I'll say this now is I think there's more openness to talk about mental health, particularly in guys. I'm happy to say it now. Would I have said that even 2 years ago? I'm not sure. But going back to the point, I'm laughing because we're never done. Like, you could be in a great space, but there's the acknowledgement of that continued learning and self-development, and kind of reflecting on that and sitting comfortably with that. The world's changing, all aspects, and as individuals, with the encounters that we have, we're always changing. So I think what you said in terms of what you're doing at Glean, like, and then promoting that learning and the culture that you create through learning and then stems through to innovation is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be weird of me not to mention the technology side of this. Joy. I think that approach to individual learning translates quite well into the team as well. So we're always learning about how to deliver new things. At the moment, there's such a huge boom in AI and everything that's moving so fast with that. The sort of team approach to rapid experimentation and delivery of those things is, and we're acknowledging that we don't really know fully how to do some of this yet. We're still trying to figure out ways to utilize AI that really benefits the end learner instead of just being a fad. And we've not got it quite right within the teams yet, but we're doing quite a good job of getting experimental things out there and rapidly innovating. And I think it's quite nice to see the team kind of collectively learn that and kind of feel the pain of that learning process as well. Because you're kind of navigating things you're not quite sure about. We still don't really understand a lot about how this AI technology is going to kind of stand the test of time. I think we know how we can utilize it in product, but
and that, I don't know, I feel that the methods that we use now in delivery of tech and shaping it, again, focus on how we're bringing people together to be more exploratory and acknowledge that you're not always going to get it right. Like product, I think, brings together that like your customer, the commerciality of it, tech, and product management sits right in the middle of that. I mean, that promotes that exploration, right?
Yeah.
And engaging with a customer to say, or a user, is this the right thing? Service design, make sure you go right across the organization, but gathering feedback. I think that's, for me, that's a demonstration of where we are now in bringing tech and people together. There's inequality in the need to talk about them together, right?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest attributes of agile development is revisiting and learning from what you've delivered.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think often gets, you talked about the pressure of delivery and stuff earlier on. I think that's something that often gets missed. We have to revisit these experiments or revisit these things that we've shipped to make sure that we are, first of all, it's doing what we intended, but also that we're learning from that and we can build better products.
Yeah. And I think they're not being too evangelistic about those things either. Again, it comes back down to just the simplicity of what are we trying to achieve and how we're going to get there and coming together as teams. I don't think here's a blueprint for how you do agile, or this is, do products this way.
Yeah.
It's like building a toolkit. And again, coming back to that EQ, the emotional intelligence of what bits do we need from those methods that are going to work in Glean. I think that's so important. And then, again, you build that into the how do we work here type conversation. That's the story that you're telling and you evolve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone does need to say the blueprint is not the Spotify model. I'm sure someone somewhere thought that was the situation, and everyone
they
just
don't even
copied.
use it. Right?
I know, yeah. So yeah.
What about that retention of staff? Then we're talking about colleagues that come in and stay in. It's a real significant, I guess, signpost to how people feel. They're there longer, and I guess there's always that natural churn. And you kind of want that because it might allow new people to come in, but how's that been for Glean?
So definitely been through different phases as a company, and I think I'm far from the longest standing member of staff. There's still other people being around a lot longer than I have, and I've been around for a long time. I think it's something we're always continuing working on, but I think really important to look at. I think sort of that development of staff. How do you give them that sense of journey in where they're going? And as Josh was saying earlier, I've been doing a lot of work around. How do we build the right frameworks to support that development? But as you said, I think there's also that acknowledgement that, especially in a growing business, people are right for different phases of the business, and I think sort of that. I think I definitely learned that the hard way, and I think sort of there's times where I probably try to keep people in the business longer than probably I should have done, and I think that's definitely a learning journey. And sometimes it's right to allow people to move on, but also I think finding those right times when you're like, actually, no, hang on a second, we've not done what we need to ensure that we're able to sort of keep the right people. And I think sort of it's a really important balance, because I think if you retain underperforming people, it means those who are really performing feel like they're like pulling everyone's weight, and so you've got to continually think about this from both sides of okay, how do you have the right team, but also as the business changes, you definitely have to look at what are the skills, what are the attributes that you need now, what's missing from the culture you have that needs to develop for where you're going. And definitely sort of I wish there was easy answers in this area of how do you retain people in the right way, but I think it is that building that consistent way of sort of supporting staff through their journey, and that sometimes is for them then to move on to the next thing, and that's a great thing. And really keen to how you help people exit well and support them on to what they go on to do next, because really aware that the company can be a great place for people to come and learn, but actually there's also other things for people to go and do. I think one other thing is we're really keen for people to feel a sense of ownership. In last year, we introduced an EMI scheme to give everyone a share in the long-term success of the business. And so regardless of your role within the business, everyone's eligible to be part of the EMI, and that really sort of has started to build that sort of sense of not just, okay, I come and do my work for the salary, but actually involved in how do we create a business that is successful, not just today or tomorrow, but actually for the longer term as well.
Brilliant. So just revisiting the question, I think we've answered it. Navigating the roadmap to innovation and team growth needs more than just strategy. demands a culture that promotes creativity and loyalty. So how's your focus on culture empowered your team to build great products and become a company that people want to join and stay part of? I think big thing for me on that is, that creating that unity across the team. There's the clarity of where we're going and there's a story that's being told, and you've acknowledged there's an evolution of needs of people as well as, as the organization grows. So, there's clarity on that, and you've demonstrated your commitment to them even by giving them ownership, part ownership of the company that everyone's bought in, but also acknowledging that sometimes there's a time to let people go and go and do other things. Anything else to add on that?
I think I don't want to dwell on it too much, but the conversation around sort of exiting people positively and also having that dialogue early, the growth of a company like Glean is, it's a very strange journey to get to 100 people even. So, some people want to be involved in that sort of scrappy startup, and as the company grows, it'll feel like it loses that some of those values of that. But that's not necessarily true. It's just that people come at the different parts of the life cycle, and it needs to be a positive dialogue where if they're not happy, you need to support that and support them in that process.
I think it's a really important point, that exit. Yeah.
But that feeds back into the wider culture, right? Because people see that you respect it. There's nothing worse than seeing a company just try and cling on to anyone they can. It's not a good look, is it?
Yeah.
So I think it's important that the company sees that you're trying to support the growth of people in or out the company.
So we're just coming up to time, and I was going to ask you what about one key takeaway from today, one each, and you've finished that on. I think a thing that's come out throughout all of the conversations, for all the questions, is respect. If you, joining the business, being through, the business's journey, however long that might be, and even at the point where you leave, there's a respect for individuals' needs and circumstances, whether they're operating at 100% or 50%. Like, that's been a massive thing for me today, and understanding and having the emotional intelligence to understand that and engage in that, the humility, the authenticity and sincerity around all of that. So that's been massive for me. What about you guys? Or any other, or is there one key takeaway you take from today or recommendation?
While Dave's thinking now, so my takeaway is about those moments that form culture, and I think it's just back to that point we started the whole conversation with, which is how you prioritize that, how you make sure you create the space for those moments to exist. And it's obviously a lot more than just small perks within the business and budget to buy food or something. It's more than that, but it's about creating the time in calendars or creating the space for staff to kind of socialize and be together or work together on a problem, and to make sure those moments can exist. Because if you've got the delivery, there's always going to be pressure from the business to deliver more or do this or do that, because obviously ambitious companies want to either grow or and that's always going to be the case. But I think you just have to prioritize the time and space to make those moments happen.
Awesome. Dave?
Yes, I think I'll come back to the point I made earlier, which I think was around the role as leader. You set the tone of the business, and I think that thing of how you make sure you prioritize your own well-being and therefore then your ability to show up well, and be able to respond to people well. Because if you're not in a good place, it doesn't matter how good your intent is, you will not show up as well as you could do, and going to respond to people. And that's where I definitely found personally where I've not maybe lived up to that sort of value of really respecting people has been when I've not been in a good place myself, and making sure you're able to turn up and do that and exemplify that, as well as then giving people the same permission to do that as well is so important, as part of like really sort of growing a healthy culture.
Dave, Josh, where can people find out more about Glean? What's the website?
Yeah, visit glean.co. There's loads of information on there. Do have a look at our values. We didn't talk about much today, but hopefully you'll have seen through what we've been talking about and sort of how they come through in that. The careers page as well goes into a little bit more in terms of what we do, how we approach things as a business. Yeah, and if that resonates with you, yeah, do get in touch.
Brilliant. I think we'll wrap up there. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks very
Thank you.
much.